But I would hope that we can find measures to better inform people as to their respective rights and obligations when they share the road, because I think right now a lot of times between cyclists and motorists and so on, people aren't clear on that. And so I would hope that part of what we're going to do as we go forward will be to have people better understand how they share the road together.
Anything?
I think that it really just reminds us all of the fact that we still have a lot of work to do on making sure that every person, but in this case particularly women, but every person can go to a workplace and be free of harassment, and that while we have made progress on that in the last number of years, we still have a lot more work to do in terms of making sure people feel comfortable coming forward when things are happening that shouldn't be, and making sure that other people know how they should conduct themselves and what the limits are, the very clear limits on behavior in office places, whatever they may be. One of the things that's I think useful to know is how many complaints have there been in this workplace. I'd like to hope that the number is very small, but even we know now, as we've known before, that when you see the number of complaints there have been, that doesn't necessarily reflect the reality, because people feel very constrained about coming forward. And so I think it's a good idea for me to find out what the state of affairs is at the moment within the knowledge of the Human Resources Department, and see if that indicates more needs to be done. I'm certain more needs to be done, but it's just a matter of what you need to do to make sure this place is a model, not just an acceptable workplace, but a model. No, I've been in touch with a number, and our offices have been in touch, but I'm in the midst of actually setting up a call with the Prime Minister, just because it's one of those things where, depending on his travel schedule and mine, but we're in the midst of sort of reaching out to various people. But I've sort of been spending most of my time speaking with members of the council here, because I thought that was my first responsibility, and I've been talking to many of them, and I'm just in the process of, sometimes again where it's hard to hook up, but we leave voicemails back and forth and whatnot. But
given those conversations,
I meant to stick in my pocket and pull out and brandish at this moment that my work was all done by the Toronto Sun and by Mr. Pete, and I've seen the list published there, and I thought, well, gee, it saves me a lot of time just to accept those recommendations as written. But I can tell you, I can repeat to you what I said to you 4 or 5 days ago. I have made no commitments, nor have I even had very specific discussions with anybody as yet. We're in the process of sorting through at our end, and I'm going to respect the process that exists, where people fill out in a paperwork type form, just because that's the process that's been established, what people want to do. All I have done in my conversations with the city councillors I've spoken to is expressed a willingness and indeed a determination to work with all of them in a productive way, and that has been met at the end of the phone line and a couple of times in person with very good response in terms of people saying they want to work with me, and I think that's good for the city.